You are granted one superpower, but if anyone discovers it, you instantly lose your life. What superpower would you choose, and why? Whatever power the God Emperor of mankind has. Man's psychic energy is so strong nobody knows his true face or appearance. He's also a perpetual, meaning he lives forever. I'd conquer our planet and then take the galaxy once every bit of space has been taken. I'd work towards creating a perfect system of government to leave behind a peaceful and prosperous species. And go into hiding. My legendary actions will eventually fade into myth. All the while I'd be living a modest life among my people, always moving on after a few years. Something akin to the Jedi mind trick. If used carefully enough, no one will ever figure it out. It can be used for both good and evil. A little strapped-on cash. Go to a random bank and have the teller, seemingly of their own free will, give you $1,000. The police come to ask you about it. Convince them it is not you on that tape. Someone dealing drugs in your neighborhood. Suddenly they walk into oncoming traffic. Infinite lives. ... Sure, it would suck to die the instant someone finds out, but eventually everyone knows it and you live forever. Edit to be specific. I get my consciousness transferred to a new adult body of my choice. If there are no other adult bodies, I die for good. Forever sleep, and for the first time in forever. Nobody can make me sad. I don't get born again. That would suck and increase infant mortality. Is this currently existing world, or a world where superpowers are a thing? Logically speaking, that matters. If no one has superpowers, it's much less likely that anyone will jump to the conclusion that you have the first ever superpower. If Spider-Man is currently swinging through New York, that's a different set of parameters. Either way, my choice is to not be noticed when I don't want to be. The power to not need to sleep to recharge. I live alone and often have trouble sleeping, thus often arrive at work tired. If they see me arrive not tired, ever, my co-worker will just assume I finally found a way to sleep well. It'll also have the benefit of being able to enjoy my hobbies at all times when and not working, rather than having to shut down for 10 hours each days. The power to never be questioned. Walk up to a jewelry store and walk out with diamonds. No one would question you or think you're doing anything out of the ordinary. Wanna walk down the streets naked? No problem. Wanna stroll into Buckingham Palace and live rent-free? Not an issue. But mostly, since no one questions you, no one will ever discover your superpower. Pocket. If I left the hand there for 5 seconds and kinda wiggle with it like I searched something at the bottom, a small, random amount of money from $1 to $10 will appear in my hand. It could be both coins and bills scrambled, and it can only happen once in 20 minutes. So it isn't suspicious. Universe empty of people, an app of sync with the universe's time, nothing ages, and no matter how long you spend there is an instant of normal time that I can enter at any time and leave at any place. People would assume it would be teleportation, and since I'd never bring anyone into it, nobody would ever find out. Being reborn into a baby of my choice with my memories after each death. Or not. I feel like it's easy to hide. It quenches my thirst for infinite lifespan, and I could do a lot of good with it over the centuries. Even though I'd loathe drinking breast milk as a baby while lucid, I guess. Probably feels like I'm a pervert. Put $20 a day into my wallet. It is a small enough amount no one is really going to notice, but it will offset costs like gas and groceries. If I was being prudent, I can take the $6,720 I save a year and put that in an SP 500 or towards my Roth IRA contribution. Limit was increased to $7,000 for 2024. Be able to convince anyone of anything would be easy to keep the power. I don't have the power of persuasion would solve that. And you could talk your way into any bank, restaurant, you name it. Hell, you could even get into the Vatican Library and have the monks read you the super rare stuff. I would want the power to read, speak, write and understand every language there has ever been. I would love to read graffiti from 5,000 years ago. I could understand obscure dialects from the beginning of time. I could translate all ancient texts and know exactly how the world evolved. To be able to dull pain for myself near flawlessly. We already have people who have a high pain tolerance. The ability to dull your pain at will seems great, plus it doesn't look too sus, since you'll feel just a little pain, but enough to remind you that you're in pain. The ability to manifest a banana wherever I want. Guy on TV. He's got the banana. Some rich old fart with massive influence. Banana on the bed every night at 6 p.m. My arch nemesis. Getting an artery blockage, courtesy of a banana. World hunger. Infinite supply of bananas. The ability to infinitely switch bodies on demand. I'd be essentially immortal, and the act of switching bodies killed the soul of whoever was in that body before. I'd soon amass the biggest collection of knowledge, wealth and power ever seen in mankind. To continuously send infinite amounts of love to all people and to the natural world on earth. Why? Because I believe it would heal us and make everything beautiful, and besides, it would be difficult to know that it is flowing everywhere, or maybe not. Zero. Read minds and neuralize their thoughts if needed. I could become rich without fame and make some really positive impacts on the world. Also, I must have the ability to turn it off. Social media is already bad enough hearing what everyone thinks. The ability to have one fictional superpower a day. One day I'll have the world from JoJo. Next I'm taking element C. And the next I could choose anything I want. If I'm subtle with it. Even if I drop hints, they can't figure it out. I'm not going to tell you, as it's an awesome superpower, and with it comes great responsibility. Aside from the rule about dying instantly, it would actually put my life in real danger if I were to be discovered with said superpower. Precognition, the ability to see into the future. Let's call it 60 seconds. You can live off casinos for the rest of your life. No one's going to be able to tell. And if they can, you'll foresee it and can change the outcome. The ability to choose a superpower every 6 hours, 9 minutes and 42 seconds. People might guess the superpower I chose for that amount of time, but not the duration it lasts. They'd need to know that in order to kill me. The ability to manipulate the stock market. I'd make the stocks I'm already invested in go way up. There are thousands of people invested in the same stocks as me, so the likelihood of me getting caught is very low. The passive superpower to have people love me but never know why. They just feel extra comfortable in my presence. The upside is people are less likely to be suspicious of you when they like you. Reality bending. Hear me out. Anytime someone would start being suspicious about my nature, I'd change it like, what do you mean it's suspicious? It was always like this. Ultimate gaslighting. Ability to come back to life. Seems like loss of life could only come once per person because they can only discover you once. Then you pop back to life and keep living with the superpower. The ability to cause people heart attacks with just my thoughts. I would just use it on dictators. People would assume various intelligence agencies were slipping them poison. I'd want the power to permanently elevate mankind above the petty crap which divides and separates. Yes. And if that means I lose my life because of it, it was worth it. Mind control of anyone from anywhere without any effort and any sign on the act on me and the person under it. Ha ha ha, boy L is coming by my hand with it. The superpower to slightly enhance spiciness levels in my food. Since I'll be the only one eating it, my superpower only applies to my food and no one else's. I would definitely control minds. No one would find out, and if they did, I would make them think otherwise. As if I was putting something into their minds. The power to have as much money, in any currency and format as I want. Whenever I want, without ever being questioned about how I came to have the money. To never need to eat food or drink water. I would never have to spend money on food and drinks. And subsequently I'd never pee, poop, burp or fart. See the future. Easy to amass wealth. Wealth leads to power. Remember to throw in a few losing bets every so often and none's the wiser. Obviously the ability to stop time. If I'm the only one that can move and know what's happening, then how would anyone else ever find out? The ability to know any information about anything I want to know. Just don't tell anyone how you get the knowledge, and it's super useful. Delayed healing via touch. I touch someone who's ill, and an hour or so later they begin to get better over the course of a day or two. I would want to be able to pause time. I mean, how would anyone know I pause time on them? I'd just live in paused land all day long. I want the superpower of making anyone laugh and or smile at any given moment of my choosing. Make the world a brighter place. Shape-shifting still might die, but to infiltrate and destroy the stock market by becoming a Musk Grimes baby would be worth it. Omnipotence, except for a few very random things, which makes the power so specific that no one will ever guess it exactly. Teleportation, as I'm small and people already freak out because I pop up out of nowhere. No one would suspect a thing. Mind reading, let's be so for people would just think I'm really good when it comes to body language and context. Omniscience through time and space. I'd know any and everything, and would smile wisely at anyone talking to me. I get to choose when sales occur for any item, and I choose the price. Everyone else gets the sale price too. Eat and don't get fat. In power. I personally know a lot of people like that, so I'm not going to get mad. Professor X. I can live like a king and rule the world without ever stepping outside my shitty apartment. Complete control over my lucid dreams. Like have them whenever I want and about anything I want. Being able to read someone's emotions. People would just assume that I'm very socially skilled. Being invisible. But every time I go invisible my age stays the same until I go back to normal. The ability that whenever I order 6-piece chicken nuggets, there is actually 7 in the box. Infinite lives, and when I die, I can take over the life of any existing person I choose. The ability to control people's thoughts. No one will ever know that I have this power.